Right, we're going to have a look now at a different way of doing this curtain wall because I'm not entirely happy with the way of controlling how this wall turns the corner. A tidier way of doing that is to just draw the wall in plan view, but when you go into the curtain wall command, we've been using, I think, this single line input method. If we change that to be this polyline input method, we can chain line after line. So in plan view, you'll be able to draw that line across the front and then that line across there until you then press OK to finish the command. That'll then make this turn the corner nice and neat and tidily very easily. But what it won't do then is put this angled shape in the elevation view of this panel. It'll just be a straight wall with the height up there. That's the reason why I decided to do this as a separate wall using this boundary geometry method to do the boundary shape of that wall. But having had a second thought about that, it's going to be a lot easier to get a lot of the way towards an end result anyway. It won't quite finish it off easily directly, but if we just do a simple wall with a simple curtain wall with a simple curtain wall height, and then we use solid element operators to subtract this triangular shape using the concrete clip-up wall. So to demonstrate what I've discussed there, we'll do that at the other end of the building. So I'll just organise my 3D view around this way so it's ready to go when we get there. And I can, sorry, not that end, this end up here. And maybe we can do this whole shape turning around the corner on this one. So we'll turn around the corner at this point, we'll go right through to this point, and we'll turn around that corner at that point there. So we'll do that in the ground floor plan, up this end of the building. Now we need another guideline. If you remember, we did the cutout in the walls from grid Y1, we did the cutout in 1800. So I'm just pulling out a new guideline, 1800 from grid Y1 to that point. And that's going to give us the point where we start our curtain wall. So the other thing is I might start using a curtain wall layer so I can identify these walls differently in layers and turn things on, turn things off. So if we go into the curtain wall command, we'll go up and have a look at the settings dialog first. I think everything should be left okay as it was before, 1 metre panel layouts, and if you're 2400 for your panel number 1, and 600 for panel number 2. The frames, you remember, we all set up to be 44, 150 and 100. So both boundary, mullion, 44, 150, 100 and transom, 44, 150, 100. So I think everything looks like it's still set up from our last example. So this time in the layer, I'm going to change the layer to wall curtain. So we've got the wall curtain layer up, so it's going to enable us to differentiate things. And I'm going to change the geometry method from being a single line, so click and hold the first item here, to this polyline method, which is going to enable us to keep drawing input information. So I think I've got that there now. So I'm going to go from the inside face back at this point. The other thing to make sure you might not have done last time is curtain wall system, change these offset dimensions to 0. The offset to the glass will then be 100. So with that in mind, I'm starting at this intersection point here, and I'm coming to that intersection point there, and I'm going to go across to the inside face here, and then I'm going to go up to the inside face at that point. After I've clicked, I can right click and then click OK. It then comes up with the sun, so it wants to know the outside of the curtain wall system. So if we click outside here, we'll put in the height of 3 metres from the current story and click place. So that's placed our curtain wall in that sort of arrangement. One thing I didn't do, I'm sorry, we're go back again to the curtain wall settings, is under the scheme I wanted to double check the pattern position down the bottom. And I think I want it to be the middle of the grid pattern to the middle of the reference line segment, so that will be aligned to centre. I think I'll click in there and see what result that gives us. Just move this elevation mark of 9 out of the way with the pet tool. Pet tool displayed. It's out there. Right. So I think we'd work with that arrangement. We'll see what the pattern does. It seems to give us an opening panel in the middle there somewhere. We'll have a look at what door placements we might utilise a little bit later. So in 3D view, as you can see, the curtain wall system now has turned around the corner here. Okay, so what we can do from there then, to finish this off fairly quickly, except there'll be one thing missing which takes a little bit of effort I find, is we can use solid element operators. So design solid element operations, and the target, this I'll select the target element is the curtain wall and go get target element. Then I'll select these two, so shift select these two walls and get them as operator elements. So get operator elements. The operation is subtraction, so I can click execute. I can close down solid element operators now, and I've got my curtain wall in that arrangement. If I was to hide the layer of the concrete tilt-up walls here, so right click, layer, hide layer, you can see then that we're left with the curtain walls being trimmed off by the solid element operator. The only thing that it hasn't done is it hasn't then placed a framing element along this trimmed side. We can do that manually, but I have found that is the area that causes a little bit of grief. But let's work this up for here for a moment. I think what I will do is I'll edit, so click in here and edit, and when I'll click, hover over the top of this frame element that we've got here, and if you then click into that white selection, it'll select that frame element all the way through and press delete. So that frame element will be gone. And this one here, I'll do this a similar thing too. I'll select it, but I think I'll now move it. I'll do a quick measurement at the moment. I'll measure, say, from the back here. So at the let's use a guideline. Maybe it might be better. If I pick up a guideline and drop it on this corner here, grab that edge there, and then grab that guideline and move it back, say, let's say, see what 600 looks like. Yeah, I think 600 would work well. So if we were now to move this element here and click there, so it selects all of it, then click that edge again, so I'll zoom up to show you which edge I'm clicking on here, this edge here, that'll activate the pet tool, and if the pet tool's in drag, we can move that across to this guideline till we get a perpendicular sign, and then we click. So that's moved that element through there. Oh, I thought that would have moved that one there as well. I could either delete it, but I think it might be tidier if I click that there. I think it might be tidier if I click on it and drag that again across to the same point. By virtue of the fact that you're dragging it past that cut point, it has deleted it anyway, but I just wanted it to line up with the other one, so it wouldn't leave any little gaps here or anything like that. And then the only other thing we'll do is I'll select this corner element that has been put in here. I don't find that very successful, or not even sure if it's even possible with an Australian style commercial aluminium framing to put an element in like that at the angle. It would have to be a special one anyway. I find it's normally better just to butt join the corners. So if we hover over this one and use that to select it all the way through, we can set its thickness to 0. And press enter, and that will by default get rid of it anyway, but it might just be tidier for the model if we also change its frame type to invisible. So it's got 0 thickness, which means it doesn't show up, but it's invisible as well, so it definitely won't show up. And if we, so you can see now we've made this corner element here now trim very nicely into the corner, very easily, without a lot of mucking around. The only one thing that we're missing is this framing element through the side. We'll talk about that in a second, but we might as well just tidy up this other end in a similar way. So I think it was this one that we got rid of. So I'm going to click this white icon to make sure I get everything going through and delete. And then I need a guideline. So the guideline came from the outside edge, I think. Did the outside edge show up, or go to the... No, okay, I'm finding it hard to find the guidelines. They'll orbit around a little bit differently, I think. Let's orbit around into that corner. Let's find a guideline which snaps to that outside edge there. Okay, anyway, it's snapping through, appears to be, is at the middle of that mold. No, oh, okay, no, it is snapping to that edge. Oh, but it's back in, the work plane seems to be back on there, the glass plane or something. That's okay. So we'll hover over this frame element, zoom out so I can get both of them. So this frame element here, and select it all the way through. Oh, no, I have to move this first. So that was going to come back 600, same as last time. And this framing element is going to be selected from this point, and I'm going to move that through until it's perpendicular to there. So that's something similar that we did on the other side. This corner mullion, we will select it all the way through. We change its thickness to 0, and to be double sure, we change it to be invisible. And okay, so while we're at it, we might have a look at a door arrangement here. If I leave those 2.5 panels and then put 2 in, yeah, we might do something like that. So if we left 2, we've left 1, 2, 3 mullions in place, but select this mullion here, select it, oh no, just that mullion, and delete it, and then do the same from the other end. So 1, 2 whole panels, and then maybe this one, and delete it. So that gives us 2.5 panels on each end and 3 in the middle. So this panel here and shift select that panel there in one go can change to member type curtain wall double door. Now the other thing that we did is if I select this bottom and shift select the bottom, and that one there and that one over there, so the sill members underneath that door, if we change their thickness to 0 and they're going to be invisible as well, that lets the doors go right down to the bottom of the sill members. Okay, so then we can click, if you haven't already, click OK to that. Curtain wall editing dialog box. I think I must have hit the escape key, which let me get out of it without pressing OK or something like that. And we can then view guideline options, remove all guidelines, and that tidies up all the guidelines. And then if I go back to the layer settings and do something like show and unlock all, it turns the concrete tilt-up panels. As you can see, from the point of view of visualization, you hardly miss that missing frame down at that point there. The line of the glazing almost sort of makes it look like there's a bit of framing there anyway. But we'll come back in the next video. I'll just pause it there for the moment, and I'll show you what you can do to fill that in, but it does take a little bit of fiddling.